Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is my lair. Today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to PSA over a year ago. I got them back in this nice little box, professionally packaged for safe and soundness. And let's get them open and see what grades I got. Alright, let's get them out of there. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge box Dugtrio, a first edition, the number 22 card. Look in the front of this card, our graphics are clean. There's no creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right, I think, is a little bit towards the left. Centering from top to bottom, I think, is within the tolerance. Our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage. That might affect a grade. Looking at the back of the card, our surface is free of creases or bends or any damage. Our centering from left to right looks a little towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom might be slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think there might be some very little damage on that upper left corner. And we'll receive a grade of Mint 9. Nice grade for an old card. Let's check out this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Koga's Muck, a first edition, the number 26 card. The front graphics of this card are really clean. There's no creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right looks really close to the tolerance. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see no damage that would make any difference. Flip the card over and look at the back. There's no creases or bends or any problems on the graphics or surface of this card. Our centering from top to bottom looks slightly towards the top. Our centering from right to left is definitely towards the left quite a bit. Looking at our corners and our edges, there's some slight damage on the lower left corner, and that's it. And they're going to give us a grade of Mint 9. I like it. I like it like that. Here's a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Erika's Ivysaur, a first edition, the number 41 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see the graphics are vibrant. There's no creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the right. Our centering from top to bottom is slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our corners and our edges, they show no damage. Take a look at the back and you'll see that our centering from left to right is slightly towards the left, and our centering from top to bottom is slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our corners and our edges, you'll see that lower right corner has some slight damage. Looking at the surface of the card, you will see there's no creases or bends or any other damage. And they'll give us a grade of near mint 8. That's not too shabby or bad. Hey, it's a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Koga's Koffing, a first edition, the number 48 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, our graphics are bright. Our surface is free of creases and bends. Our centering from left to right is very slightly towards the right. Our centering from top to bottom is towards the bottom a little bit. Our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage at all. Check out the back of the card, and our surface is free of creases and bends or any damage. Our centering from left to right, I think, is towards the left a little bit. Our centering from top to bottom is really close to the spec, possibly towards the bottom a little bit. Looking at our corners and our edges, the only damage I see is the lower right corner has some slight damage. And that's going to give us a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Growlithe, a first edition, the number 62 card of the set. Look at the front of this card. You can see it's clean and free of any damage, no creases or bends. Our centering from left to right, I think, is towards the left a little bit. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're crisp and clean with no damage. Taking a look at the back of the card, our surface is free of any creases or bends or dirt or damage. Our centering from left to right, I think, is slightly towards the left. Centering from top to bottom looks a little bit towards the bottom. Looking at our corners and our edges, I think there's a slight damage on that upper edge and maybe that lower left corner. And that's going to get us a grade of near mint 8. That's not too bad. We are looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Mankey, a first edition, the number 63 card. The front of this card is free of any creases or bends. The graphics look bright and nice. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the right. Centering from top to bottom looks slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. Looking at the back of that card, our surface is free of any creases, bends, or dirt or damage. Our centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom looks a little bit towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, our upper right corner has some very slight damage. And down that right border, either that's a piece of dust or a nice little mark on the blue border there, about 2/3 of the way down that right edge. And that's going to give us a grade of Mint 9. I like it. This card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Rhyhorn, a first edition, the number 65 card. Our graphics are very clean. Our surface is free of creases and bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's a little bit towards the right. Our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, our corners look really good. Our edges are pretty clean, except there's a small speck of dirt on the lower edge, about 1/3 from the left side. Flip the card over and look at the back. Our surface is free of creases and bends or any damage to the surface of the card. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is pretty close to spec. Maybe it's slightly a little bit towards the bottom. Our centering from left to right looks a little bit towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, there might be some slight damage on that lower right corner, but it's hard to see. And we'll get a grade of near mint 8. Not too bad. You're looking at a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Blaine's Vulpix, a first edition, the number 66 card. Looking at the front of this card, I like the graphics. I like the surface. There's no creases or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left. Our top to bottom centering looks really close to the tolerance, and our corners and our edges look very clean with no damage. As you look at the back of the card, you can see there's no creases or bends or any damage to the graphics or surface of the card. Our centering from left to right is definitely a little bit towards the left. Centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our corners and our edges, there might be some slight damage on that upper left corner. And that's going to give us a grade of mint 9. I like it. But better than a near mint 8. I like a 9. Let me show you this 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Brock's Geodude, a first edition, the number 68 card. Looking at the front of this card, I like the graphics. They're really bright. Looking at the surface, there's no creases or bends. Our centering from left to right is a little bit towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom is slightly towards the top. Our corners and our edges are free of damage. As we take a gander at the back of the card, our surface is free of creases and bends or any damage to the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right looks really close to the tolerance. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're actually really clean. And we'll get a grade of near mint 8. I like it. I like it. Not as good as a 9, but like it. This card is a 2000 Pokemon Gym Challenge Erika's Paris, a first edition, the number 71 card of the set. Our front graphics are clean. There's no creases or bends on the surface of the card. Our centering from left to right, I think, is really close to the tolerance. Our centering from top to bottom, I think, is slightly towards the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see no damage on them at all. Flip the card over and look at the back. Our surface is clean of any creases or bends. Our graphics look great. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's slightly towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty close to the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, all four corners have some slight damage, and there's some very slight damage on that upper edge. And we're going to get a grade of excellent mint 6. Could have been better. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and remember, you got to catch them all. Have an awesome day.